So today I'm going to talk about the supplements that I take and why I take them. So this is one of my first videos. Well, not one of my first videos, but one of the first ones I'm going to post. So there's a million supplements out there. I've taken them all. Probably, well, not all of them, but probably like 100 different supplements for different things, different grades. Keep in mind, whatever supplement you get is going to either have, like, you can buy a $5 bottle of omegas, or you can buy a $30 of omegas, and you can buy a $5 bottle of magnesium or a $20 bottle of magnesium, and they're definitely different. You can buy a $5 multivitamin that has like 100% of everything, and you just take one, and then you can buy a $40 multivitamin where you need to take 3, and you should take them throughout the day, and there's a million different variations. But so where I'm at so far after a couple of years of doing this is, so not always, but especially like if I'm drinking a lot of caffeine and I'm like living a very active lifestyle and I don't get a lot of, like, I don't get nearly as much of like the rest digest side of my body, I take an enzyme, basically just digestive enzymes. Like digestive enzymes, like when you are in a parasympathetic nervous state, your body starts to secrete saliva, starts to put you in that rest and digest state, and then digestion starts in the mouth. Your body can tell, your mouth can tell what sort of flavors and vitamins and minerals and macros and micros are about to go into your stomach, so it starts to secrete those. Just like, I don't know if you've ever thought, like if you've ever been around salsa, you're about to eat salsa. Like, I work in a Mexican restaurant, so I notice it all day, every day, and I tell people to see if they notice it, and I think it's pretty funny. But whenever I think I'm about to eat salsa, like whenever I'm like debating, should I eat salsa, because there's always salsa there, my mouth starts to salivate, because there's so much in that. There's so much salt, there's so much, there's so much stuff in salsa that your mouth immediately will be like, it's pretty crazy. So like if you're running and, like, for instance, let's say you go run a mile and then immediately you like down a cheeseburger, like your body does not have a lot of enzymes in your belly to start digesting that. That's why you'll get a stomach ache. That's why if you eat, right after you work out, a lot of food, like, you're gonna get a stomach ache. All those things is because your body has not been secreting, it's not in a rested state, so it's not trying to eat, it's not trying to digest things. And if you do that consistently, it's no bueno. So I take like a basic diet. I've taken more expensive ones, but this is just like a regular, decent, digest basic Enzyme Medica. Enzyme Medica, the enzyme experts. So digestive enzyme. And then the main ones I take are, I take a high quality multivitamin. Now this one, it does not have 100% of everything. It has a little over 100% of some things, and has way under 100% of your daily value. And daily values are super arbitrary as far as, well, like why they were created, who created them, how much a person needs, a 90-pound girl that's hanging out at home versus a 200-pound man who's running around and working out and, lives a high. I'm not saying girl versus guy, I'm just saying, like, body styles, like a tiny girl versus a big guy, like way different in macro and micronutrients. So they're not completely arbitrary as far as like what you should get, but it's just like water. Like, how many glasses of water should you drink a day? Well, get used to your body and know that you need to take care of your body throughout your life, and you should get yourself over the course of your life or years, if you weren't taught it, and most of us weren't, you should get acquainted with what the feeling is of being super thirsty, being not thirsty, and knowing that you should drink some water, or being overhydrated. There's, you got to test those things out and see what your body feels, because you know what I mean? Like, if you feel great all the time and you wake up and you're feeling awesome, and you go to sleep and you're feeling awesome, and throughout your day you're nice and you're productive and you're coherent and you're cognitive and you're doing all the things that any, consensus would say is what a healthy human being should be doing, adapting to their surroundings. Especially in the world we live in surroundings that are very much not like our ancestors, so we are in a super adaptive needing generation, if you will, with the foods we eat, with the lifestyles we lead, with the goals we set, with the mindset we have. This is a very crucial generation. Generations past where, obviously everything changes, but they were living pretty similar for the past couple hundred years, eating off the land and working normal and not so connected, so their stress levels weren't nearly what they are now. Social stress is a huge thing, and social stress via social media and stuff is crazy. It's people don't even realize how much social stress they put themselves under, but they're constantly under social stress. So I just feel like we should get the proper nutrition to aid ourselves in those things. We're also in the first generation where we have the ability to learn and know what is optimal for human beings because of all the data and all the testing around the world and all the information coming in. And I mean, I'm 27 and I've been learning about this stuff since I was like 16, 17, and I spend a couple hours a day reading and watching and learning and listening and trying to figure stuff out, and it's not easy. And what I see as one of my goals for making videos and doing this vlogging and blogging and hopefully podcasting at some point is to curate information so people know the truth, to be able to word it in such a way that you completely understand it. I listen to a lot of Sam Harris, neuroscientist, philosopher extraordinaire guy, and he speaks so mathematically that when he's talking about something, even if he's talking about something that he may clearly have a biased opinion on, which everyone does, you can't be totally back and forth. So he has his opinions on things, but the way that he words his opinion is very different from the way a lot of people word their opinions. And if you are coherent and you're not trying to be cynical and you're listening to what he's saying, the way he explains things versus how other people explain things, you will start to understand his side. I mean, in general, he's very smart. Yes, he's liberal, whatever. But he's a super smart guy, and he talks to, and part of what he does is talk to people with opposing viewpoints of his, and they also a lot of times have very good viewpoints. But whenever he's talking to someone who is super intellectual as he is, they don't speak how he does, and they don't explain things in a way that makes you understand it completely. And when he speaks, you understand exactly what he's saying, and it has an amazing transformational effect on your mind. Listening to someone who is speaking in such a mathematical way that's, this plus this minus this plus this, is relatively this. And it's better than just I think this, and this is this. Because that doesn't explain all the caveats. And he very strategically will go in and out of, all sorts of nooks and crannies. I always say to people, in one paragraph, he can rebut whatever you said, and then he will explain his side of it, and very nuanced throughout what he's saying. Throughout his paragraph of what he's saying, he will hit every single point that you think that you're about to say. He's gonna give you a reason why you're probably better off not trying to say that, because that's not, and he does it in such an overall strategic way that a lot of people are and then you get to real conversation. Anyway, back to vitamins. So, magnesium. I'm not gonna lie, magnesium citrate. This is probably one of the most expensive magnesiums. Apparently, you need it. Apparently, we don't get enough of it. Most people get tested and they don't have nearly enough, and it's super good for your brain and your body. And I've had my ups and downs with it. It definitely does something. To say there's no of all the drugs I've taken, I'm used to drugs that super, take an Adderall, or you take a Percocet, or you take a fucking Xanax, you feel it, man. It fucks with you. It fucks with you. And vitamins are different. Vitamins are more subtle, but they're definitely real. If I don't take vitamins for a long time, I definitely notice a little bit of something lacking, which sounds weird, but anyway. So basically, I feel like you got to get a lot of specific things into your diet, and a lot of us don't eat these things. You can't see that. A lot of us don't eat all of these things. You don't mash them up in herbs and spices and eat them. So you might as well just get them through a different source because they're good for your brain and your body and your spirit. A high quality omega. If you want to know why omega-3s are good for you, Google it. I'm not going to sit here and explain why everything is good for you. Google it, watch it. I don't want you to think that I'm biased towards anything. I'm biased towards the cause. Like someone says, oh, now I'm biased towards, of all the stuff I've heard from all the studies, methyl B12. So apparently methyl B12 is the best B12 to get. And I take a Ginkgo Smart with a whole bunch of other stuff. And I take nitric oxide pre-sport. That's it for now.